equal to. I'm like, no. They lost by exactly double the amount they lost to the Rams by. They were competitive, at least for the first half in that game. They were never competitive in this game. So the two aren't comparable. Second half of that Rams game, brutal, atrocious. This, without question, the worst performance of the year, and it's not even a conversation.
Well, and also, you look at the teams that Pete coaches, it's just so unlike him. I mean, they had over 10 times as many yards on the ground. 298 yards to 28. So that was just in every way, just not a Pete Carroll's team's performance, right? It just, from start to finish, from the second that JSN bobbled the catch for a first down to the very end. I mean, it was just brutal, and they just didn't respond. And that was the thing to me that, like, I'm okay being confused with the Ram game. I'm okay with, the getting beat on the road with the Bengals. But when you go out and you're not physical on either side of the ball, and that's where, to me, 90% of it happened, was on the line of scrimmage. On both sides got their butts whooped. I'll give you a good example. Like, what did they knock down? 3 passes, 4 passes?
Of Geno?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that only happened to short quarterbacks.
At the line of scrimmage. Yeah, and you know what? It actually is, fairly unlucky. Like, you look at a lot of these slow motion plays of Joe Montana throwing, and it just like whips right past a guy's arm or his hand up. And, and a lot of times I feel like it's just lucky. But you know how you keep a guy's hands down is hit him in the mouth. Give him a shot in the gut or to the shoulder or whatever. Hit his, face mask with your helmet, just anything. And I thought that was just another sign of how, look, what they need to be at the point of attack, at the line of scrimmage, is they need to be attacking. And our offensive line, they just kind of got in their way. And sometimes that works, that you can, just get in the guy's way, and then, maybe a guy makes a cut, or, you don't give up a sack, whatever. But that just wasn't going to do it. And they just needed to be way more physical. And then the same thing. And our guy, Dre Jones, I went on and on about that sack that he got against the Bengals. And I saw a play where that happened to him. He got totally overpowered at the point of attack and just dumped on his back. And it's like, man, that is just the opposite of where I thought this team was going. It sounded like they were all fired up. I thought it was going to be a really tough game going in. If I would have been a betting man, I would have probably not said that they were going to beat the Ravens, but I thought, man, if they get this win, this will be like a signature win for the Seahawks. This will be, and I'll understand if they lose, but then the question is, okay, how do they lose? This is not anything I even came close to expecting.
Yeah, we talked about it on Friday when you were in transit, and just talking about the idea, like, I didn't feel like they were going to win. I thought they'd be competitive.
Right.
And we talked about, what does it mean? What does it tell you about this team if they win? And what does it tell you about this team if they lose? And the most common answer about the loss was, well, it depends on how they lose. If it's, they tooth and nail and they lose on a field goal or a touchdown, you're on the road against a good team. Okay. I think everybody comes in today and goes, hey, man, that was a tough game. That's a good team. But when you lose like this, where you just weren't in it, And the defense was much like the offense has been recently. We've talked about the offense just disappearing after first couple of drives where they just march down the field and they're just bing, 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 and they look great, and all of a sudden it's just gone. And then they found it in the last game. They were able to, after the turnover off of Jamal's head, that interception, then they fired the ball down the field on that final drive to win the game. But that was the same scenario. This game, the defense, the first 2 drives, they look great. They look great. You're like, okay, this is going to be a tooth and nail battle out here. These 2 defenses, which offense is going to find that little sliver of daylight and capitalize on it? And then they fell apart, much like the offense has been. Where in this game, the offense just never showed up. But defensively, it was weird how they sort of mimicked what the offense has been doing, and that is getting off to a really good start, first 2 drives, and then I don't know what happened. Is that the other team making an adjustment? Is that, we always say adjustments. I feel like that's just a throwaway term for things changed, and I don't really know why, so I assume they made a change. But I don't know how to explain what happened to the defense after those first 2 drives.
Yeah, it's funny. I one indication early on when they had them backed up, I think it was like play 5 and play 6, Darrell Taylor comes across the line of scrimmage, takes on the center, blasts him back, and then they make a tackle for no gain. And then the next play, the exact same thing happens. He, makes a big, physical tackle, and I'm like, okay, this is the way that this is going to go, because Darrell Taylor has kind of had some problems as far as playing the run. And then fast forward to the long run that got ran, outside and then back up the middle. I think it was to the third string running back. He got just entirely turned by a tight end, just manhandled him, turned him to the inside. That's the point where the ball gets loose outside. And then, you have guys throwing shoe dusters, as Chuck used to say, just diving at their legs, not wrapping up. The tackling was horrible. And, yeah, it was just very frustrating and just not what I thought we would get out of that. When they started off that way, the first – yeah, okay, JSN bobbles the pass. Okay, that's fine. They'll get by that, punt the ball away, played good defense, and then it just unleashed.